Welcome to Table It, a micro RPG podcast. My name is Tim, and I'm one of the hosts and the editor of this production. Table It is an excuse to get my friends Max, Matt, and Manny to play micro RPGs with me. We are all interested in game design as well as actual play, so each game will get a review at the end. Stick around and hear our opinions, as well as if we would put this game back on the shelf, or we would table it and play it again. Our first episode, we are playing Big Gay Orcs by Grant Howitt. You can pick it up yourself at www.rowanrookanddecker.com. Content warning for this episode includes sex, violence, blood, self-harm. Viewer discretion is advised. Okay, so, hi, I'm Tim. I've introduced myself already. Let's go around the table and get everyone else also in on the introductions.
What's up? I'm Matt. That's about it.
Hi, Matt. Pronouns?
Oh, yeah, pronouns, he, him.
I'm Manny. They, them pronouns.
And I'm Max, also they, them pronouns.
I also forgot, he, him.
Dun, dun, dun.
I have a serious question, because I just was reading through the sheet again. Did Zogoth kill anyone with the axe throwing?
Yeah, technically.
That's a good question. We didn't resolve that. I definitely said the first person that they hit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you got him in the chest and
So
he
we-
went down.
Yeah, for sure.
If they went down but survived, we're okay. If they went down and died, we should lose hope.
We gotta roll
That's a
D3.
good point. I don't know how they would have lived. I think they got an axe in the chest and
Yeah.
I think died.
And then none of us, like...
And none of us
Nobody
care.
went
They're
up
like,
to
oh,
help.
help me. And we're like, we got to get the person who's not injured to the healing tent.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, good catch. I think you all have to resolve that. So a character dies. D8 plus marks.
Unnamed character
Unnamed
dies.
character. You killed an unnamed person. Todd was sitting on,
that's right,
on him,
that's
but
right.
he wasn't named Todd, so... we're
Correct.
good.
Just a D3 then.
Yeah. So I lost 1, so I'm down to 12 hope.
Yeah, I'm also down to 12 hope. I lost 3 on that one. Apparently that got me a lot more than my beloved leaving, so...
Yeah.
I only lost 1. I'm like,
Yeah, whatever.
soldiers die in battle. It's fine.
It's fine.
So here's the deal.
Yeah.
Moontooth and I went back to the boar pens,
Yeah.
which smells like boar shit, so most people don't come by.
Yeah.
We've got a chance to be just the two of us and no one else is there. While I'm making my marks on paper and trying to refigure out what I'm doing with the pigs.
I gave you the papers back, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I have to reorder them. It doesn't make any sense to anybody, including me. And as I'm doing that, I actually start trying to grill you for information about what a warlord's supposed to do.
Oh, yeah.
And as the conversation continues, it gets a little more heated, and we have a standoff moment of bodyguard versus war chief, who's correct. And as we've been getting more and more heated, we get closer and closer and closer, and that's when we make out.
Ah, nice. Amazing. First makeout of the game. Whee! Instead of defending the fortress, you can choose to seduce and make out with another orc. If you are successful, you each recover hope equal to D3 plus the sum of marks you have on each other. So, important question.
Yeah.
Is this moment successful? Do you consent to making out?
Yeah, although I had a really funny thing, a good idea. Y'all have seen Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist?
Yes.
So I think when the makeout's over, I have a spear again and you have an axe again.
I love it. I love it. You two have
Perfect.
patched up your differences and enjoying a little quality
All right,
time.
so we each recover hope equal to D3.
D3
plus the sum of marks.
So I only
You have on
one
each other.
Yeah, I only have 1 on you.
I have 2 on you.
So do I
it's-
recover 2? Do you recover? Oh, the sum. So we each get 3 back.
You each get 3.
We
I
each get
think.
3
3
plus with the D3.
I rolled a 4, which divided by 2 is 2, so I got 5 back.
I got a total of 4 back.
Nice.
Dang. I think Grok, after tucking this poison in a hidden away pocket, is going to go back out to help Salik and sees this and is immediately crushed.
Oh, that's right, because you love Sal.
I love Salik, and so I feel like I should lose hope for that.
Absolutely.
As a character betraying me. So that's going to be...
Oh, no.
Yeah.
A D6 plus mark. I only have 1 on you. Oh, woof. That is full 6.
Oh my god.
I rolled a 5 plus the mark. So,
Oh no. What are you down to?
9.
Oh Jesus. You're having a rough evening.
I'm having a rough evening, and I turn away and like kind of still myself, and I stick my hand in my pocket and feel the vial of poison and just file that away for future
Ooh,
use.
juicy.
And I'm gonna head to Killnash and
Okay.
like have some. I want to do some like rebound
Yeah.
for that.
So you arrive, Killnash. It's been a few hours, so Killnash has made actually shockingly good progress on a very big boar. You can see that he has. I'd say maybe there's like a paddock where like the boars and horses and stuff hang out. And he's like taken over that whole area and has rolled out and crafted a good sized boar, which right now I would say looks like an upturned canoe. And it's got,
Yeah.
he's building like legs and stuff, but inside it are like galley benches where people could sit. And you can see he's like had summoned a ladder from somewhere and is like up on top of this, like starting to affix different pieces because it's pretty good size. He looks down at you and, hey.
Just came in to check on the progress. Is the head and the like tusks done?
It's nearby. You can see it hasn't all been attached, but he's starting to make the shape of it.
Yeah, and I'm kind of going through like petting the fur of the boar, and I make my way over to the head of the tusk, and I look up at him and I say, "It's very fine craftsmanship, Kilgash. I'm very impressed. You took my idea and just ran with it."
Oh, I'm so glad you like it.
It's quite the craftsmanship, and I like stroke the tusk of the boar
In a suggestive manner.
in a suggestive manner. Yes,
He notices.
Yeah, and I look up and says, you put in so much work, Kilgash, and I start climbing the ladder, and I'm saying, you look so tense and you do so much for the camp. Are you taking care of yourself and doing enough for you in these moments before?
Oh, wow. Grok, nobody's ever really asked me that before, and he starts to really unload. He's like, I work so hard and I'm up all day and night crafting all these weapons, and the war is taking so much out of me, and I'm so tense. I can't sleep at night, and it's just so nice having someone here to talk to. And
Yes, of course. You can tell. Your shoulders are so tense.
giving him a
and I
massage?
start massaging, and I was like, all that work on all these weapons is giving you quite the definition in these in the arms and the traps. And I'm like rubbing his shoulders, going
Amazing.
down his arms. It's like that scene in Ghost. Where
Absolutely.
I like go around and like I take the hammer out of his hand and like
Instead of making a pot, y'all are making a board.
we're making a board.
And also you're like 20 feet up in the air.
Yeah, 20 feet up in the air, and like I swing, and like I take the hammer out, and then I swing around, so I'm like straddling him.
Amazing.
On the front, and I'm like, let's work on those pecs a little bit, and I'm getting closer and closer, and then
Amazing.
we smooch your faces off.
Amazing.
You lock tusks.
We lock tusk.
It's actually a beautiful moment because the moon is high in the sky, the firelight flickers off your faces, and you guys are up on this ladder area above the boar shape.
Careless Whisper starts playing.
Absolutely, distantly. A kazoo, Careless Whisper.
There's a wandering like goblin bard.
Yes. So he enthusiastically consents, and you enjoy a wonderful time together. You recover hope equal to D3 plus the sum of marks you have on each other. Killnash does not, as far as I know, have any marks on you.
I don't think I have any marks on him either.
So I think it's just a straight roll at this point.
That's 3.
Nice. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
So I'm back up to 12.
So each of you actually enjoying a quiet moment of makeout and passion and hope restoring in your chest. Unfortunately, that hope is eventually interrupted by the sound of
Immediately,
something.
eventually.
Yeah, I changed my mind.
It got away from me.
It got away from me. Okay, so I rolled an 8
Oh no.
+6.
plus. Yeah, so this is the 4th event, and it's 1 a.m. So, so 8 plus 4 is what?
12.
12. Plus, I don't think any of you are defending the fortress right now, are
So
you?
3 more, so
Plus
that's a 15.
3 is 15.
Ooh.
Oh my
The
god!
gates go.
This shit is about to pop off big time. So, each of you are up on the boar shape, making out with the beloved, husky, enormous, wonderful blacksmith, weaponsmith. You guys are in the boar pen, making out in the boar shit, but it feels great, and you are having a wonderful time.
I can't smell it anymore.
I think we were in the barn.
Oh yeah, okay. Up in like a hayloft, we'll say. Amazing.
I told you we had to calculate the hay they
Yeah.
needed for the day.
Exactly. And all of a sudden, you guys hear yet another low, bassy boom. You think it is the wall again, like someone escaping or something going wrong. And then you realize, each of you in your own way, calculating the directions, that it is not coming from there. It is coming from the front gate, which is facing towards the fields. You notice the front gate area, which has been well barred and closed, like bang, poof. And everyone starts to scramble and grab weapons and run out and to see what's going on. And the enemy forces themselves are still quite far away. But I think what they have is a big Helm's Deep style catapult that is catapulting great boulders, huge mammoth boulders over yards and yards and yards and yards, whole, maybe a mile.
It's a pumpkin chunkin' trebuchet.
Yeah, that's what it's called, trebuchet. And these massive boulders, which are the size of cars, are striking the fortress. And one of them hits home, and the gate explodes into splinters of wood and stone. And now your gate is hanging open, and the boulder thuds into a stop in the fortress.
All right, I'm going to say, I would argue right away that the gate is a resource in this particular case.
Absolutely, because now you guys are undefended. So D6.
Fuck, I rolled a 6.
6.
Oh no!
I only rolled a 3.
I'm back down to 11.
I'm at 6. I would like to say the big thud of the gate actually breaking coincided right as the money shot happened with me and Keel Nash.
Yes. Excellent. So what are you guys all doing? There's a giant boulder that has rolled into camp, and the gate is now hanging open, just a mess of splinters.
How big is the boulder compared to the gate?
The size of it. Like the same height.
I need 20 on me now.
Amazing.
And as soon as I have 20 orcs there, I start coaching them into place, and working together, we all roll it so the boulder now is the gate.
Love that.
I love it.
Running in there, throwing our clothes on, and putting the boulder in place.
Jumping into your loincloth as you go.
Zipping your pants, running
Yep.
over.
All right.
Let's roll for that. This is a roll to express, can you get everybody to do this? And is the stone the right size? Ooh.
Double 6s all the way.
Double 6s. So first resolving, you definitely get what you want. All 20 orcs roll up, and immediately, with the strength of 1,000 men, are rolling this boulder, which is massive, and it fits perfectly.
Okay.
But
I'm going to say this involves two marks for everybody witnessing this. So this would be
I'm definitely helping. So
you,
all of you are
Yeah,
there.
and Kilnash.
there,
yeah.
Because everyone's out and seeing this. But one orc trips and gets rolled over.
Oh god.
And I prove to be heartless because my yell is keep going, keep rolling. And then when we get about 5 feet away from the gate, I say, hold, wait, you rotate this way, you rotate that way, and we actually roll it so it is a secure fit because I was able to see how it was shaped and roll it specifically into place.
I like that.
So is that one mark that we both get on you?
2 marks
Two
each.
marks.
Two marks on you?
Oh, wow.
Because I am both heartless and I was smart enough to see how the boulder would fit and how we can wedge it. And
Now-
I showed it off.
You killed an orc with that one.
Unnamed orc.
Fuck.
Oh no, it removes hope from people. Okay, so each of you, it's an unnamed character, so D3.
Ooh.
Only one.
3.
I'm down to 9.
Oh no.
I'm down to 10.
5.
Oh my god. Okay.
What happens when you're all out of hope?
You either... When you have none left, you leave the fortress or die after one final scene.
Okay.
Okay. I think at this, all of the different people around, including Kilnash, whisper among themselves. And you hear little snatches of conversation along the lines of like, wow, what a heartless bastard. And he didn't even flinch. And man, he sure became warlord quick.
Yep.
Suspicion rankles.
All right.
So at this as well, with this boulder having crashed through, it is now much more evident that the enemy has approached. It's been several hours, and they are now clearly within throwing distance of the fortress, and they're close enough that you can hear not just the thud of their boots, but also the clanging of their armor and whickering of their horses as they approach.
I think I rush up to Salik, and I want to push Moontooth out of the way and kind of glare as I do it. And I will rush up to Salik and be like, the giant boar is almost done. If we're going to use this as a ruse, we need to get people inside and get it set up in the middle of town or outside the walls quickly. The army approaches.
Giant boar?
Oh, right, I didn't tell you. Kildash and I have been working on a ruse, you see. We made a giant boar. The tusks are Norctanium, and we think it would be a great idea to put it outside our gates as like we surrender. This is our gift to the kingdom. But meanwhile, there are 50 orcs. Do we still have 50 orcs? However many we have. We have orcs. I look at the crushed guy under the boulder, and it's 49 orcs inside, and we get them to take that within their camp, and then when they least expect it, we all bust out and slaughter their warlord. But you're much more charismatic than I am. You got to get people in the boar.
I like the enthusiasm.
Oh, thank you.
Orcs don't surrender. And the kingdom knows that.
But maybe just this one time. Sometimes surrender can be the better option. If the other option is your entire family dying in a bloody fire.
Kilnash leans over and says, Grok is very smart. He knows things. You should trust him.
We did just block the gate. So putting it in front of the camp, not going to be easy. Show me when it's finished.
Okay.
Yes, we can do that. Kildash?
On it.
I head up to the watchtower.
Okay.
It's my turn on watch.
Yeah, okay.
I'm defending the base.
Nice. Good.
War chief or not, I've still got a job to do.
Absolutely.
Moontooth is going to go check in on Zolgoth.
Okay. Yeah. Basically unchanged, I would say. Still unconscious. Grandma is still there, doing many rituals and waving her hands mystically over Zolgoth's body.
Shamala hamala.
Shalama. But no change. The sigils, the golden sigils remain rotating mystically through the pillow and furs and around her head.
Okay. So
I want to do something to help her.
Okay.
I don't know what that could be. But Moontooth might.
Yeah.
So, okay. So part of me thinks it would be very funny to, like, now. Yeah, I want Moontooth to do something. Like, he's creative. He's a pretty clever guy. So, like, what would potentially block? Oh, you said that there were shields made out of unorctanium, right?
Unorctanium. Yeah, some small ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Moontooth is going to get some of these shields and build it around her head.
Oh my god, like a tinfoil hat?
Like a tinfoil hat.
Okay.
And I'll act. This is an act. So
Absolutely.
I'll roll on it if you don't mind.
I think the grandma notices you do this and decides to help you.
Okay, cool.
I don't think you can have a white on this one.
No.
I think it's just red and black.
Yeah.
You are technically not acting against another orc, so.
No, that's true.
Wait, does it have to be acting against another orc? Is that a thing?
No, that's
You
one
get
of the rules
extra
for
if
a
it's
white die.
against.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you're sort of acting on her behalf.
Yeah.
So. Acting against the wizard, really.
I have rolled 1-4.
1-4, okay. So you get what you want at a cost, or you don't get everything you want.
I don't know. What do you think?
I think, because we're dealing in like freaky long distance blood magic
Yeah.
here. I think that as you are doing this, I think you can get what you want, but I think you need to give up some, as you're doing this maybe, and as she's helping you. Maybe you guys are crafting this and preparing this, and you realize that it could work, but it needs a boost of energy from something. You remember having seen Grok do this blood magic with the boar blood and the axe in order to gain that connection and that far sight. You realize, although you're not typically a magic person, that there needs to be some kind of sacrifice or interaction from yourself to this thing in order to gain and break that connection. You suspect maybe blood. So I would say, like, if you were to, like, slice your hand and then do a blood sacrifice, maybe it could work.
Moontooth knows that we're going to get into a fight pretty soon. He's going to need both of his hands functioning very well.
This is always a bad place to do
it's a
blood
terribly bad place
sacrifices.
to
I don't
do
know why people always do that.
So he's going to cut a section of his leg a bit to get some blood, and then smear it on the shields and stuff. So do the business.
Ooh, yeah.
So I think that is getting hurt a little, or maybe hurt a lot. What do you think?
I think it's getting hurt a little.
Okay, so D3. Oops.
Because it's intentional. Like, you're deliberately not going to stab it into your femoral artery.
That's a 1.
Okay.
Yikes!
Wow. So, yeah.
So I'm.
Down
Oh
to
wait,
8.
you only lose one.
I only lose 1.
Yes,
yeah.
right. So you only lose one.
that's
So
not
you
bad.
did well.
Yeah, I'm down to 8 of 20, but I have hopefully done some work to preventing Zolgoth from being hurt worse.
Okay.
I think I probably would have checked in on Zogoth as well, and I see this. Can I tell? Is there any change in Zogoth at all? Did this
Yes,
work?
I think it worked. I think the addition of the unorctanium plus the sacrificial blood plus the addition of the grandma helping. I think what happens is the sort of unorctanium
Wait,
sarcophagus.
Could I slightly rearrange how things
Yes.
are done? I've got a really funny idea.
Hit me.
So the unorctanium is made into a tinfoil hat. It's going to be bent into the right shape. So I think
Amazing.
Moontooth is going to take these unorctanium shields and just repeatedly bash them against his head as an anvil to get them into the right shape for a head.
Amazing.
If you want a stamp,
That's how you got the blood on them.
That's where the blood came
yeah,
from.
so my forehead's all bloody, and
Oh my God.
they're all bashed up into the right shape and making the little sarcophagus shape around.
Wow. And then you fit
Zolgoth.
that over Zolgoth, like Man in the Iron Mask style.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my God. That's so fucking freaky and gross. Well, and over all of this, the grandma is Shamala-hamaling
Yeah,
over
yeah.
all of you.
I like how the face bash onto a shield was way grosser to you than like a straight up blood sacrifice.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. It's like uncontrollable or something. Yuck. And so there, I think when this happens and when the unorctanium face mask fits over her, I think just then the blood seems to show through it for a moment, and it glows red, and that the crown, the rotating crown of golden sigils, and fades out.
Cool.
And so she remains unconscious, could awake soon, but the spell is broken.
Yay.
Hey, can I try to use that link before it goes to like see if I can still get to the wizard?
Sure.
Like ride the last of it back.
Yeah, love
like,
that.
I want to ride the last of it back because if this works, I also have a plan.
Okay. Yeah, hit me.
So what I would like to do is like ride the last of it back, but I also want to take the poison vial and like crush it in my hand and use that blood to hopefully infect the wizard with the poison.
Does that poison you? Because you crushed a vial with your hand and it has poison in it?
I think, well, yeah, because I would have
That'll
to
be
get it
the
into
cost.
that'll be the cost.
If this has
Yeah,
that.
so like I'm going to crush it and like if I, like it is my intention to transfer all of the poison blood to the wizard, but if I don't roll well or roll very poorly, it'll just poison me.
And are you
NB4
trying
three
to be
ones.
sneaky?
Yeah,
Are you,
I'm
because
right
Moontooth
there.
and Grandma are both there.
I don't think there's a way I can be sneaky about
Yeah, you
this.
gotta just
like,
do
I
it.
gotta just do it. Yeah, and so I'm not acting against an orc, so I
Right.
roll an extra one, but I still get my white dice.
Yeah.
All right, let's try this. Come on, dice,
Does-
don't fuck me.
Well, does...
We've been ruling it so far that roll a white dice if your roll applies to the action, and an additional white dice if you are acting against another orc and have more marks on them than they have
Oh,
on
and
you.
have more marks. Okay.
Right.
So you can roll up to 4.
Yeah. Oh my god, I want you to succeed on this so bad.
Oh God.
What is it?
A 6, a 1, and a 2.
Okay, so let's resolve the 6 first. So you, one dice shows 4 or more. You get what you want at a cost. Mm-hmm. I think the cost is going to be everyone who's there. Moontooth, Grandma, multiple other orcs that are like milling around or near the healing tent. See you pull out of your satchel a vial with like fucking nuclear, like Spider-Man green ass poison in it. And clench it in your fist and it breaks and the poison like drips down your wrist, and then they see you like do your magic. So that is the cost.
That's the cost.
It succeeds though. So break us off a piece of what does it look like for you to like extend this poison energy into the wizard, and what happens with your 1 and a 6.
Okay, so I break this off and I put my hand, my bloody poison covered hand, and you can see the radioactive green starting to like spiderweb up my hand. I put it on the unobtainium mask and use the last of those sigils to send it through the ether to the wizard. And I think as part of, because the red dice I rolled the 1 on, my eyes like roll back in my head, and I like astral project myself to the tower with the wizard, and as I'm doing that, I just kind of like pop up onto the like top of the tower at Orthink, essentially, and I'm like spreading my hands, and this radioactive green red blood just kind of like swirls around me and turns into like a bubble on the wizard's head, and then it like sucks up into his nostrils, and he like starts twitching, and then like black ichor like oozes out of his nose and mouth, staining his like long white beard and out of his ears, and he falls. And as he falls, I'm going to Sparta kick him off the top of the tower.
Amazing.
I like it.
Amazing. Excellent.
Yeah, and then I slam back into my body.
Have you been doing the same actions the whole time?
Yeah. I think like my physical body like rises up in the air, and like you see him go through all that motions, and then I set back down, and then I look up, eyes go back to normal, and I look around, and everyone's staring at me.
Are you poisoned? Is your own physical body poisoned?
Well, here's the deal. Your one means you have a choice.
Well, the one was the
Did you-
red dice, which
Yep.
is the reputation, which was like my reputation is pious. So
You're
Right.
forced into a choice. It says on the sheet. Mm-hmm. You either hurt someone, or every other orc in the scene takes a mark on you.
Right.
You could hurt yourself.
The answer could be yourself. The person you hurt is yourself.
I think that's what I want, and I think to make this fair, because this was big magic, my hand that I cut, just like Dumbledore in Half-Blood Prince, is like blackened and charred.
Oh, sick.
And I actually, you can see it's like creeping up my arm, and I'll actually turn to Moontooth.
You have a spear again. God damn it.
Yeah, I do.
You have the spear again, and I was like, and I'll just hold my arm off and like get it before it gets to my heart. And I offer my arm to you so you can hack it off at the elbow.
Oh my god.
Okay,
That's metal.
so here's the question.
Uh-huh.
Because this is... I love the mechanics of this and the way this is going to play
so
out.
you rolled a 6 and a 1, right?
Yeah, the six was my white dice, so I don't know.
Okay, cool.
Like that doesn't
That
really
doesn't do
affect anything.
I want to
Right.
make sure that we weren't also having to deal with the other one too. But
Yeah.
Yeah, no black results on this one.
Yeah, no black.
so I don't have I have the spear and not the axe.
Yeah, we specifically made the point that you guys switched
Oh,
back.
that's right. Zogash is there.
Zogash is, lots of axe.
Yeah, but
Zogash.
I have Zogoth's axe.
She had a whole bag of them.
Yeah, I dumped them off
yeah,
the side. So
yeah,
she
Oh,
didn't
that's
get
right.
swords.
True. There are no other things in here except the spear that you have,
Okay.
which you could use to cut off.
It
an
is a
arm.
large bladed boar spear. At least
That's
that was
true,
my
okay.
thought at the beginning.
Yeah.
So
Never
in that,
actually said
in
it.
that case, Moontooth makes like eye contact with you that you can tell means that he knows and that you're gonna pay, but not like this. And he grabs the spear right up next to the blade. So he's like choked up on it all the way, grabs your arm, slams it against the wall, and just starts. This is gonna get kind of brutal here.
Yeah.
Just starts like fucking sawing at your arm to like
Yeah.
to try to cut it off. He's very creative. He goes for a joint, so it doesn't have to go through bone necessarily.
Like
But
right at the elbow, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
just brutally destroying your arm.
127 hours.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I don't think you even have to roll for that. I think,
Okay.
Grok is offering it willingly and like asking you to do this. I think you hold still and
yeah. I mean, like I bite down on like something. I
Yeah.
like take my belt off and like
Yeah.
I'll take my belt off and like tie it around like my
Yes.
bicep and like pull it taut and like stick the other end in my teeth as I'm like biting down and just waiting for you to hack this arm off.
wow, what you do. And with a wet thud, the severed arm eventually drops off and swings and then falls.
Brutal.
It's
God.
super brutal. And then, so
So we're going with a R rating.
yeah, for sure.
So
Less
we're
for
earning
sex
that
and
shit.
more for brutal arm severing. It is an orc love story after
That's
all.
true.
Wow.
And then I think Moontooth grabs a torch and then quickly
You cauterize that
Oh
shit.
my god.
and then
Wow.
and then slaps you on the other arm, like knocking you over, and goes like, "Nice work."
Thanks.
Does that cause hope?
Does it cause hope?
Like the hope.
Well,
yeah, there's an interesting component to this, which if I were going to make, well, we can talk about this in review, but
Yeah.
like, there's not really anything to restore hope, but I feel
Except
like
for making out.
except for making out. But I kind of feel like if you get like a mega awesome kill on an enemy, I feel like that should restore hope in some fashion.
Well, and I was kind of thinking that like maybe we use this as like this is still like my attempts to defend because I'm trying to take out their magic.
Absolutely. I think
Magic
that's true.
caster. But yeah.
Two guys with the longest legs on the short side.
I know,
of each other.
right?
Yes.
For each other.
We can rearrange another time.
So at that moment, you are standing there, teeth gritted in pain, and
Pale green at this
pale,
point.
the severed arm still laying there. Grandma comes along with like a bag and like sweeps it into a bag and removes it. Zogoth is there, still unconscious, covered in a bloody iron mask, although freed from the sigils.
I remove the mask and clean her up a bit.
Nice. You are standing there, gasping for breath, bloody spear in your hand with grok blood and guts on the tip of it. What are you doing?
I'm in the watchtower, taking my turn on watch.
Yeah.
This is pretty normal night, actually.
Wow, this is the chillest hour all night.
Nothing
Lovely
bad
sky.
We come out.
Sweat pouring. I'm like 3 shades of green lighter.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, we're orcs.
Just then, you are up on the battlements. You are the only one to notice this, except for maybe a couple of other orcs who are also taking watch up on the battlements with you. You guys are thoroughly distracted in the healing tent, and it is you who sees several younger orcs from the group. They have pulled themselves up onto boars, and they have spears and javelins and axes in their hands. And they trot out from beneath the gate around. Maybe there's like a small area that they can get around where you might send your own battalion without unlocking the front gate. And they look up at you and they salute you. And they say, "This is for you. This is for the city." And they charge off across the field.
My boars!
Poor dumb babies.
I would say there's 3 of them. And they are each riding 3 boars. And they have weapons raised, and they are charging and screaming, and they are hauling ass across this open field at 2 o'clock in the morning. They pass off in the distance where Kilnash is working on his boar. The other orcs and you are up on the battlements. Nothing you can really do to stop them unless you wanted to try to kill them yourself. And they haul ass across this field. And just then, like in American Gods, you see all 3 of them suddenly filled with arrows. Every single one of them is now a pincushion of arrows, including the boars. And they fall off the boars all fall down, everybody skitters to a bloody stop in the middle of the field. And we have just had an NPC leading a suicidal sabotage mission.
Woof. So here's a question.
So everybody should take, because unnamed character dies.
Now, is that 6 of them?
It seems awfully unfair to say that like 3 unnamed characters times all of you, but it's up to you guys.
Well, there's 3 of them, and then also 3 boards. So I think the pair of us would each roll 3 1d3s, and you might roll 6 1d3s.
It depends on how much you think of your boars as beloved unnamed characters.
I'm kidding. That's mostly a joke.
Well, here's the thing. We could end this right here because we're not going to survive that with our current hope counts.
If it were all 6.
If I rolled all 6 and each of them rolled 3.
I think
You
it's
might
got to be
survive.
3.
I might. I've got
3.
an 8.
Yeah, it would be 3.
Rolling on the field,
Yeah.
let's call it 3.
All right.
Oh, God.
I'm down to 3 hope.
What's half of 3? Is that 1 or 2?
1,
Okay.
I
So
think, right?
Well,
How have we been doing?
1.5. I'd round up.
To 2?
Oh, okay. So 1 and 2 is a 1.
okay.
3 and 4 is a 2. 5 and 6 is a 3.
Okay.
How you doing?
-1.
Oh no!
You're hopeless.
You went over the hope meter. Okay, so this is what happens with Grok. You either leave the fortress or you die after one final scene.
Okay. I think the blood loss from losing my arm is starting to get to me. And I sink to the floor. And I'm probably, I fall into Moontooth's arms. And I'm like, find Salak. It's time for a deathbed confession.
Moontooth bellows Salak's name.
Well, my turn on watch is done. I was walking back, and so I pop in.
And I'm like, cradling my stump.
I am very confused.
You didn't know any of
I'll
this had
explain
happened.
everything.
Salak, come closer.
What is it, Grok?
I don't have much time, but I have to confess something to you.
Your war chief will hear you.
I cry a little bit, and I say, it was I that poisoned the former war chief, but not for any reasons you may want. Or you may believe. And I say, and I reach up and I touch your face, and I say, he was going to send the boars, all of the boars out on a suicide mission. That's where I got the idea of the Trojan boar. I only wanted the best for you. And as I confess this, and I say, I'm sorry, Moontooth. I had to protect the one I love. And I slip into oblivion.
Oh my god.
Grogan watched over you. We'll meet again on the fields.
And also with you. And then
I think Moontooth stabs you.
Oh my god. Holy shit. Wow.
and I pass away.
Oh shit! We
Into
gotta
the
punch you in the
love-
face.
Yeah,
Ritually.
you have to punch me in the face. And
It's legitimately, as the last breath is left, reach up, make sure the eyes are closed, set you all up. Honors.
Boom!
Wow.
Just one after the other. Everyone in
Yes.
the room lines up.
oh, and then I died. So
And then you died. So Grok is
rest in peace, Grok.
rip Grok.
oh no,
Rip in peace. So this is
which
a big
means-
Yeah, we gotta
deal.
roll again.
Which
Yeah.
means a named character, a character leaves or dies, D8 plus marks. So D8 plus all the marks that you guys might have on Grok.
oof.
I've rolled a 3 plus a 1.
How many hope do you have left?
3. I'm one over.
I rolled a 7 plus 1.
Shit.
And how many had you been?
5.
So both of you, this
But
moment.
this is the last scene that we
This
did.
is it. This moment.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Absolutely.
As they both punch me in the face, the ritualistic death, can that be the moment that the walls fall and
Yes.
the army comes in?
Absolutely. I think that's happening right now. I think, especially because of the suicide mission that the other ones had done, I think it opens the door. And I think as this is happening, you are passing away. You guys are paying your respects. Again, for the third and final time, a low, bassy rumble. This one all around you. The enemy has arrived.
So I think what Moontooth is doing is Moontooth stands up, looks around at this like crumbling place we've called home for so long, scoops up Zogoth and starts walking towards the same direction that Duroth went.
I reach out and put a hand on your shoulder.
You gonna stop me, War Chief?
You're the one holding the spear. Lead the way to keep the people safe. I'll stop them here.
Oh, so good.
It's legitimately. It's I stand there. Take your arm that's not holding Zogoth. and using your arm, I punch myself in the face. And I turn around.
So you are running with your love, Zogoth, chasing your other love, which has vacated the premises. And I think that's where the camera pans up. I think the camera rises. We see Grok, deceased, clutching the arm. We see you heading away with your beloved. And off in the distance, maybe a falcon rising, circling, looking for you. And I think we see you, the last war chief of this band, the talisman that Grok gave you on your breastplate as you head out into battle. And what does that look like? Give us the final moment.
Axe in hand. Dot on my left, Todd on my right. All of the unarmored boars behind me. The enemy thought they were charging the gate. They weren't expecting a charge back.
Amazing. And the rest of the orcs come behind you. All of them, axes, spears, javelins, heading for the field. And it is the final battle.
And the boars and Salak charge the camera, and before they get to the clash, the screen goes black as the last boar leaps over the camera.
Credits.
Ba-da!
Boom. Amazing.
I like it.
Amazing. Well done.
All right.
Well
Wow.
done. That
I
was
wanna-
Big Gay Orcs.
So we just finished playing Big Gay Orcs, or 1,000 Orchid Blossoms, a love story. Mm-hmm. And I had a great time, but now it's time to play Critic.
Yeah.
So, in previous conversations about what review would look like, there are a few values that we've talked about going into it. There's obviously the surface level of like, did we like it? Would we play it again?
Yep.
Is there anything we would change? What worked, what didn't work? The deeper level, I think, too, is what is this project trying to do? Whether we liked it or not, whether we would play it again or not, what is it trying to do? And did it succeed on those merits? So that's usually kind of the values that we're trying to keep front and center going into it. The most charitable analysis, although not necessarily being sparing on criticism if it is a poor showing, so to speak.
I mean, the good news is for the first one we're doing, it's not a poor showing.
Right.
It was actually I had a fantastic time with this.
Yeah, I had a much better time, honestly, than I thought I would.
Yeah.
Like, I had kind of glanced through this before, and it's been on my list of like, oh, that's a game that, because this is a Grant Howitt game, right?
Right.
And like, the guy's prolific as hell. He's got so many micro RPGs. Like this one, I love the title more than I expected to like the game. I was like, okay, this is a good title. Maybe I'll enjoy the game. And I actually had a really good time with it. There's a couple moments where I felt kind of lost in the middle there, but that's more on me than the game, you know?
I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting that the message of the game, because like literally it's italicized, it's underlined. Where's the actual handwritten sheet I'm looking at here?
Yeah.
It's the tagline, the final tagline in his little intro. Can you tell them how you really feel here at the end of everything?
Yeah.
And I mean, you guys saw me play. I didn't really go for the romantic bit. I didn't really get into the love story side of it so much. And then we had that moment at the very end, right as everything finished. And it was like, okay, this is big. And it made me feel like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the game actually hit exactly what it was going for.
Yeah.
So initial review from Matt is, this game is fun. I would love to play it again.
I agree. Initial review, it was great. I had a great deal of fun and would most certainly play it again.
Yeah. I was gonna say I think the Sorry, I forgot I was going to go with that. Why don't you go next?
Yeah, I also really liked it. There's a lot more game under the hood than I expected. Initially, I was like, okay, Big Gay Orcs, it's a better aesthetic concept than it's going to be an actual game, you know? Or I was expecting all jokes and bits, you know, from top to bottom, which also maybe would have been fine. But once you got into it, when we started whipping up these motivations and you have this really complex hope mechanic, which starts to wear itself down pretty fast, and then you factor in these somewhat potentially terrifying events, like it took itself to like more of a complicated kind of dramatic place in a way that I found to be really engaging and fun. Yeah. All that being said too, I also think maybe with a different DM or a different table, you could also play it totally comedy.
Yeah.
If you wanted to. You know, you could have it be fucking, you know, Benny Hill orc chaos battle. Exactly.
I'm of a slightly different opinion. I think that, like, I mean, obviously we like more serious games. We've played Legend of the Five Rings and stuff like that. We like an intense, deep philosophical story, right? But I think the events in place, as well as the kind of characters that you're going to build using the like tables here, plus the fact that one person's death kind of wombo combos into everyone else dying. Like,
that was great. I loved that.
I think the kind of stories that this game ends up telling is going to be a little bit more serious in tone. I mean, obviously there's going to be the romance and the hay or whatnot that's going to happen, but like it doesn't change the fact that like the topics of like just the events in general are actually surprisingly dark.
So where does that fall for you on the initial review? Did the game hit what it was looking for?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It absolutely hit what it was looking for. Like, I think this game is supposed to be about like dealing with the high consequences of orc life, as well as dealing with the like high tension romance that can happen in love can bloom on a battlefield, Otacon. Like, I think that the fact that the setting does feel as dark as it is makes the moments of like telling each other how you really feel all the brighter.
I actually slightly disagree with you about did it accomplish what it was trying to do. I think the like foreboding is there, and that sort of like dark overcurrent of everything. I think it feels a little bit about like forcing some of the like romance and like love story aspects. What I would have liked to see is we have this like really great table and mechanics for like the war aspect of it and like stuff like that. I almost wanted to see something that would force like romance choices. Like you roll like a similar table and like I don't even know what it would be at this moment, but like if you're trying to tell this love and war story, you've got the war part down really good and like really good mechanics for that. I don't feel like the love mechanics were necessarily there because that all came from us.
I think, you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah,
that's
so I would
point.
like a table that's like, I don't know, you see a new orc that you've not seen before and it makes you question your crush on this other person, or so and so does a thing and it changes your what is it, your
like your motivations around
your how you feel about the person, your relationship status. Like this forces like you now no longer feel frustrated with this person, or they did something to change your relationship status with it. And I don't know what that would look like. Maybe that's like if you roll all ones on your dice or roll all sixes or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think this game specifically would benefit from a more of a romance love mechanic.
Yeah.
Because I think the war thing is like really good and really solid.
I think that's also an area where maybe it's just our group too, but like naturally not everybody is going to be as comfortable going to like a more improvisational, intimate, romantic place. And I think I would have benefited at playing the NPCs from like a little bit more of a helping hand on like, here's how we like get to that moment or that place. It's also interesting that it's not a given that any player character is going to be in love with any other player character at the start of the game.
For sure.
It almost shook out that, like, none of you started in love with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, my character had two, like attractions to people from the start, because I rolled 6s, right?
Mm-hmm.
On our ranger and our sergeant, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I felt that I was like, oh yeah, I've got these hooks already. I'm gonna go pursue those relationships and try to see where that goes.
Mm-hmm.
But due to how the war shook out, Moontooth didn't really get that opportunity, other than the touching moment with the letter and the running away at the end, right?
Right.
But I also didn't expect to have any kind of romance outside of those two going into it. I was like, oh, I rolled love on these two, and I've got frustrated and jealous and frustrated again, right? So, like, those aren't the, like, kind of no one rolled fancy, I think.
Yeah, that must be like the crush mechanic. Like, oh, I fancy that person.
Yeah, I fancy that person. Yeah. So, like, I was sort of like, I'm gonna pursue the people that I rolled on, and I didn't expect to have a relationship with the Beastmaster in a hayloft moment where our character is like, what's the word I'm looking for? The tension of leadership rose to a peak, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not the only thing that rose to a peak, am I right? Well, and I think it was weird for me because I only had, like, really positive emotions for, like, Matt, your character, and then Zogash, who I respected, but, like, she got taken out, like, real quickly in the story, so I was like, well, fuck that.
She's one of the few that survived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, I think my character was loved your character, Matt, and, like, didn't you roll something for, like, you despised me or was, like, very frustrated with me or something?
Jealous of you is what I rolled.
Jealous, okay.
And it was there was a bit at the very beginning that I misremembered both of your motivations. So that was on me. I thought you wanted to be Warlord, and I thought you had a different motivation behind it.
Yeah.
My character wanted revenge, but, like, I think that the story that we told with it was way more interesting.
Yes.
But I mean, like, you would assume that I would want to be Warlord. I was the bodyguard of the Warlord. It would make perfect sense for me to be.
That felt so organic that's what would be the suspicion.
Yeah, it was really great. And, like, my character wanted to be Warlord, but was, like, not good at it. So I was like, that's why I was, like, trying to cozy up to Salak and being like, hey, maybe we do this together, and I'll be the brains behind it, and you can be the arm behind the throne or whatever.
Yeah.
And I love that, like, the one person who had, like, no actual interest in being the Warlord was like, here we go.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's that's what it was. No, getting into it a little bit more once we start getting into those relationships and whatnot. This is one where I actually want to try and bring up the mechanics of this, and it's legitimately just the mechanics behind the character creation, because it's listed as you roll. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Between reputation, secret, motivation, role, name, and relationships. And it gets a little bit confusing in there as to what you're rolling. And I mean, this is always going to come down table to table.
Yeah.
If this game was a staple at the table, I'd say, yeah, we're just straight up rolling all the way through and see what you get, and then play that out and see what story comes out of it. But especially for a game like this that has even just a side focus on the relationship of it.
Yeah.
Because once you brought that up, you're right. There isn't really... Because we didn't roll that in the motivations, like, as we started to lose hope, there was actually a shift at the table of, like, what can we do to get to it? Like, can we actually get our motivation?
I mean, I started full motivation. Like, that was like, I'm going to focus entirely on my motivation. Damn the camp.
Right.
Yeah, same. I did, like, everything I was doing early on in the game was, like, trying to manipulate people and stuff like that. And then, you're right, I think there's a moment where, like, it becomes so hopeless that you're like, well, we're not winning this. I need to tell the person I love them. I need to run away with this person. I need to do whatever it is. And I actually really liked that aspect of the game.
Considering that we didn't have those.
Yeah.
Right.
And also, from when we were doing all the character creation, there's the bit at the end where roll for every other orc, including NPCs. And they have a bit about NPCs. For each role not taken by a player, assign that role to an NPC. And so there was a little bit of confusion at the table about, were you going to have to roll 3 brand full orcs?
Yeah.
That's one I feel like it could be just worded a little bit better.
Yeah.
I will say, I don't know if this is just me and the way my brain works, but I really struggled keeping track of what all of your things were. And then and I was writing it down. Like, my paper is covered in notes of, like, as we were doing this, I was writing it down. But even then, it was really hard for me to remember in the moment, how does everybody feel about everybody? It occurred to me what would have been nice. This page is front and back, or just front, rather. 1 8x11 page. It would have been nice, I think, to have the back page. And I think you could still have this and still have it be a micro RPG.
Yeah.
Make a table that's a table 6x6 with 6 characters along the top and the same 6 characters along the bottom, and do a chart of, like, what are their connections with each other, so that, like, if you paired up Grok with Duroth, okay, what do they have anything on each other?
And what's Duroth on Grok, and then on the other side of that,
What's Groth on Durok, and
then what's Duroth on Grok?
Now, is that a criticism of the game, or some, like, useful advice to run the game? Because, like, if you were, like, anytime I run a game, the next time I run it, I've got, like, way more ideas on how to run it more smoothly.
It's a good point.
If there was space on the page, maybe to write in, like, make a relationship chart using a grid might be
a helpful, just from like a user experience perspective, it would have helped me keep it straight. And then when it was like yourself on yourself, then that square could be like, what's your motivation?
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think that's more like a tips for the table sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because, like, one thing that, like, and I don't know if this is a game mechanics thing or a piece of advice if you, dear listeners, would like to play this at home, but I think we only had 3 PCs. I think this game probably was written to be played by 6 people and then a GM, because you don't run into the thing of, like, the GM having to make
That's a good point.
4 other orcs or whatever.
This game would be off the chain if it was 6 people, especially with all the events that have to happen as well.
Yeah, and I actually think that, like, yes, it can be played with just the 4 of us and 1 person or 3 players and a GM. I think it would be way more fun to play with, like, 6 players and a GM, because then the GM is not worried about, like, the named PC or the named NPCs and, like, trying to have them contribute. It's just like, I'm a random soldier, I'm a spear carrier, I'm a child who's looking for their whatever.
Yeah.
And then it becomes more of a thing about the interaction between the players, and I think that would do a lot to kind of, you know, bolster those, like, more romantic interactions and everything. So
yeah,
I'm on a slightly different fence than that. I like having an NPC because this is a thing that I've not really done, is like having character relationships in games. That's not a thing that's happened to me very often as a GM, as a player. So I definitely feel less nervous about having my character romance an NPC that's not. I mean, you're the GM still playing the character, but it doesn't change the fact that
for sure,
that there's a level of separation between a GM PC and a player character.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, and, like, I totally get that. And I think for me, it was like, you can still have that, but, like, as the GM, you don't have to, like, do this, like, chart of how they feel about every single thing. So if, like, we did have 6 players and, like, I go up to a random PC, then, like, on the GM is like, you can do whatever you want.
Exactly.
Like,
that would help keep it straight.
I can be the, like, quote unquote straight man in this for you to bounce the ideas off of, and I can and that easier than if I'm, like, having to, okay, how does this character feel about this one?
Yeah.
In the last scene, they felt this way about that character, and that's a lot to keep straight as a GM.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're just playing, like, a named soldier, you can be like, sure, I'll make out with you.
Yeah, whatever they need it to be.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Oh, I think there's really like grabbing a random soldier, like, you come here,
Yeah.
open up.
Well, and like what's fun is the make out mechanic actually says you attempt to seduce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, I feel like with player characters, there's, like, you know, everyone does have those motivations, so it might be harder to seduce someone that you're in love with, but really despises you, where you can just grab, like, you know, a commander and be like, you in my tent now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's just the thing, is they say, if you're successful, then you get to do the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no mechanics to actually try to seduce someone. There's no seduction mechanics.
Right.
There is.
Do you consent or do you not? It's simple.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Which rocks.
Yeah. Seduction should never override consent.
Oh, no, not at
Right.
all. Yeah.
Although I think one thing that is kind of interesting, it says instead of defending the fortress, you can choose to seduce, which gives a sort of turn structure that's never otherwise stated.
Yes.
So, I think the only thing that I would change to this game personally, because all the rest of it I really dig, if I would change anything, I would add in each player makes a turn sort of statement in there so that you understand that you're choosing to make out instead of choosing to defend.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And that's the only thing that I would change. Is that there's a little structure missing there.
Well,
sorry. Go for it.
You were the GM, so I want to hear your bit on this before I make mine.
Yeah, no, that was the other thing I was going to say. One piece we mentioned already, which is I would have liked a little bit more of an assist on establishing mechanics for romance and intimacy. But the other side of it for me was, as the DM, I had no idea how to structure the game. Like, the whole initiating thing of, like, the old woman who, like, comes to you guys and is like, you guys need to do something about the absence of leadership. I made that up. It's event number 1. An elder complains demanding strong leadership, because I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
And none of us literally did anything about it. We're like, we're going to do something else.
We worked on it. We got there
No,
eventually.
that was just the thing.
So there's a degree to which, of course, as a GM, that you do need to just set the stage and let players do what they're going to do completely, 100%. And there's clearly some structure that's expected here, because there are events that happen at set times, and the rolling up of the total of the event depends on the number of players who are or are not defending the fortress, which suggests then that it isn't totally a blank slate. Like, there clearly is, at least implicitly, some kind of structure that's assumed to be happening. That, like, at minimum, players are either defending the fortress or not. So in that mix, and with the time factor too, of, like, the more frequently you roll, the harder it's going to be on the event table, I felt like the game was trying to, like, push me into a structure, but I didn't really understand what that structure was. Am I supposed to be keeping track of hours, and as they tick by, something is happening? Like, I didn't really understand that part.
Well, I mean, hours in this case, I feel, is much looser than an actual hour of time.
Yeah.
It's how long until this event has happened.
Right.
And we fell into a pretty natural structure of each one of us said we were doing something, and usually it was a roll. Sometimes it was more than one roll. Sometimes we didn't roll.
Yeah.
Right.
But the short version was we had kind of 3 options that we took. We either focused on defending the fortress and setting things up for the next stage and, like, keeping the clock low, as it were. We all took a turn at once to make out, which I feel like mechanically was a mistake.
That was great, though.
The timing of it was perfect.
I thought it was. I mean, it felt appropriate.
It felt
did.
right.
It really did.
Appropriate, yeah.
But then we also had other sequences where we were trying to we were chasing down our own goals.
Yeah.
I stutter. It's going to happen. And I don't care if it stays in the recording or not.
I appreciate the changing the word. It's very good. It's very
Love
Porky
it.
Pig.
But the short version is we defended the fortress, we made out, or we chased down our own goals.
Right.
So we kind of fell into that natural structure of, like, these are the 3 kinds of actions we can do, and we just... It's definitely a storytelling game. Mm-hmm. So if you're sitting at a table with people who are Pathfinder players...
Yeah, this is
Right.
mechanics light.
Oh, very.
However, on those mechanics light, it was a ton of fun. But once we each had our own bit, that was when it was like, okay, so time has passed, the next event is happening. And you were counting down the time and like saying, okay, it's been this many hours and so on and so forth. And I realized pretty quickly, because we had just due to the mechanics of it, as things get worse and worse and worse, even if you're rolling ones on the D10 that it tells you to roll there, it's always going to get worse.
Right.
It can never get better, because after that first event, you can never roll a 1 again.
Right.
Yeah.
After the second event, you can never roll a 2 again.
Right.
So it just continues all the way down the line.
Yeah. So I think what the game does really good is the light mechanics. And if you're a person, like you said, who is more storytelling focused, I think this is really good for that.
Yeah.
From like a GM perspective, I could see how some structure would help, and it kind of, that's a conversation I think for your table,
Right.
and like how do your brains work, how's your play style and whatever, because I do
Right.
think thinking about, like, instead of hours, thinking about them as turns, and so on this turn you either defend or you do something else. And and like we kind of found that third option, but like there's only the 2
Yeah.
listed, where it's like defend the fortress, which has these benefits, and like your roll on the table is not as bad, or make out and you can regain hope. The third option doesn't really benefit either way. It's just a storytelling element.
Yeah. That's
So,
fascinating
like,
too, though, right? Like, how powerful
Yeah.
is your motivation that you're willing to not do things that would be helpful in
Right.
order to chase your inner goal?
Yeah, and so I'm like, I don't know, maybe there could table to table be some sort of consequence for like that, or
Yeah.
some sort of reward for doing that. So all 3, if you're with a table that like really needs those structures and rules, it's like, okay, on this turn you can do one of these options, and this is what this option does, and this is what this option does.
Because if we were purely trying to like min-max our gameplay of this stupid
No one would
storytelling,
have
no one
min-maxed.
would. No, and that's the thing, is like you would either make out or you would defend.
Yeah.
You'd never pursue.
You would never pursue
An
your
internal goal.
An internal goal. You would make out or you defend, and you wouldn't really. You would try to only any of your defend options would be based around trying to get as many marks as possible on as many orcs as possible, so that your makeouts would be more valuable to you. So
Yeah.
that you could delay the time as long as possible. But also, this is not the game to try to min-max stuff. This is
No.
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 the hope and the events are purely a timer to put an end on the game, which
Yeah.
is a thing I really appreciate. A lot of micro RPGs I've played don't have a solid ending written down. You just sort of like, this is where the ending is, and we're done now. But this one's like, no. Hey, you're dead, I ran away. That's the end of our story.
Yeah.
Well, and I like, even with that, there's still some options, because like once you run out of hope, you either die very dramatically, or you choose to run. And I like that. Like, it's still up to you. That you get to decide how you go out, and that I think is really cool.
It's actually really interesting. There is a moment at the end of the game, especially like if you were min-maxing,
Yeah.
where the game breaks. Like the coding is wrong if you look at it from a computer program terms.
How do you mean?
If you still have hope left, and you've hit the final marker on the events, so the fortress falls into enemy hands,
Yeah.
and you roll a d20 and get less than your remaining amount of hope, now what?
Yeah.
You're left standing in a fortress that's fallen, and there's no mechanics about what happens after.
Well, I would suppose the next time an event happens, the fortress has fallen, and so roll again.
Well, but that's just the thing. The mechanic for events on a repeat, so you cannot roll the same event ever again.
Oh, yeah.
On a repeat,
suppose you
increase
get-
the result by 1 until you reach a different one. And if you increase to 18, there isn't an 18.
But I would say, I mean, you haven't left, so you're still in the fortress, and it's in enemy hands, so clearly you've been captured, but you still have hope.
I don't know. I feel like I get what you're saying, like, for sure. And
You
if
would have
math
to
it
min-max
out-
to get there.
You would
If
have
you-
to, or like, I make out with everyone, and I let everything else collapse around me.
Well, I also think that you're forgetting another big piece of this is that domino effect. Because once the fortress falls, then you might be on death's door, so you roll again. Another person dies, you roll again. A resource is lost, which is the fortress, you roll again.
Yeah.
And so that domino thing, I actually think is really cool, and was like what's supposed to happen with the game is that like once the fortress starts falling, people start dying, resources are lost, you start losing quote unquote hit points or whatever, you know.
Points.
And like, they just start stacking on each other.
Yeah.
As somebody who has rolled a Yahtzee of ones on my first roll of the game, it's
That's
possible.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's likely.
It's definitely possible. And I also do think that there's something to be said in this incredibly unlikely game where like you are the last orc of this tribe and you're captured by the kingdom, and what does that look for you? You're like the last remaining member of your people,
Right.
and like that's cool too.
That's an interesting, because at the end of the day, I feel like the game's answer to that question, which is like a, you know, an optimization mechanics question, is okay, we'll go back to the story. Like, okay, so let's say that happens. Like you were saying, everything, it's the end of everything. The city has fallen, the garrison has fallen, all of your friends and lovers are all dead. There's only you with your dwindling remainder of hope that you have. How do you end the story? You know? And I don't know. A fascinating question.
The orchid that blossoms in adversity is often the most beautiful.
Yes.
But
I just
that
realized
orchid wasn't
that-
here. We all died.
Orc and orchid go together.
Yeah.
I just realized that. That's nice.
Or 1,000 orchid blossoms.
Nice.
Well, 1,000 orcs hid blossoms is the way it should read. Yeah, I feel like honestly the easiest answer to me on that one, instead of a D20 on that last marker of you roll a D20 when the fortress falls, you just take off the D.
Just say it's 20.
Yeah.
Like, it's over.
Oh, okay.
Your hope is nuked. The end.
It's
Wild.
Or
That's just the
game
thing.
ends when
The game is over.
But that's
Yeah.
just the thing. You get a final scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had that final scene as we all lost hope. Again, in the domino effect you brought up, where you got to leave and take your lover with you.
Yeah.
And then I made the sacrifice and held them off so you guys could escape.
Yeah.
You got to be a hero.
Yeah. So I hit
shit,
my
that was
motivation.
That was your motivation.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. I did a little bit backwards. You thought I was a villain for half the game.
Another thing, kind of going off of what you said, Matt, that I think this game does really well and like really benefits from is this game kind of rewards those big swings,
Yes.
because there's not a lot of like mechanics of like, you know, you have to hit this DC or you have to get so many of this for it to be successful, and there is that, but it's kind of up to the GM to determine how successful anything is. And I feel like there's a couple times all of us or each of us had like a really big like swing for the fence movement, and like we maybe only got one pass, but Max, being the gracious GM that they are, was like, no, I love this, so tell me what happens. And like I think the game actually like really rewards those big swings. So again, another tip for your table: go big on
For
this
sure.
because this game is like big, campy. It's supposed to be like all of that, and I think that it like rewards those big decisions very well.
Something I think would be fun, if someone was interested in like jamming this game, would be pick like a movie or a TV show that you think exemplifies the kind of like big romance war story that you want to tell. And it could be anything from a really bonkers telenovela level of soap opera drama to
Well, you're
like
saying that this wasn't
Desperado to like whatever. And it could be, you know, on the axes of like war to comedy. It could be like all the way on comedy or all the way on war, maybe. And like the romance is going to then end up feeling really different and interesting.
Yeah.
To my mind, I was like, okay, I can't quite decide. I'm going to play it pretty straight. And so in my mind, the example that I went with was Last of the Mohicans. Like, okay, that's that. Like, it's a big war, it's a battle. Like, people are getting split up, people are getting separated. You've fallen in love in this hopeless place. Like, okay, how do you, like, find each other again or stay together?
You found love in a hopeless place.
I know.
Honestly, as we were playing this, the kind of inspiration that I was feeling was actually the Seven Samurai.
Oh, sure.
I picked up on a lot of
I
that,
love
too.
that.
Yeah, because there's definitely the gruff badasses trying to protect a place, and
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm very glad that we had a hayloft moment, because that was a thing in Seven Samurai. Is
Yes.
a hayloft moment right before the final battle,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this game. It did exactly what I kind of expected it to, but it did actually dramatically surpass my expectations.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah, there's almost an element of, like, all the movies and stuff that I can think of, like, lean really hard into that, like, war side of it. Like, I'm thinking of Battle of Helm's Deep,
yeah.
Battle of Pelennor Fields, sort of like Last Stand sort of thing. But also, like, the 300, like...
Oh, sure.
Which, like, that movie should be way more gay than it is, first of all.
Absolutely.
There should have been, like, well, we've got some downtime before, so-and-so attacks. Why don't we all just make out?
I still believe that happened off screen.
Oh, 100%.
100%. You know it did. But I lost my train of thought. I don't know if this is necessarily a critique, but, like, or I guess, how did you all feel about this? But, like, with the exception of, like, the effects from the army, like catapults and stuff, like, the other army is almost kind of, it's like an environmental factor and not necessarily like its own character or anything. So, like,
Yes.
I would wonder what would happen if, like, the king of the kingdom sends, like, their seneschal in to be like, demand surrender or we wipe out everyone, or
Yeah.
your camp is infiltrated by that or something like that. And there's a little bit of that, but, like...
Yeah, there is not a lot, though. Like, the most it really suggests is, like, enemy magic or enemy arrows or a dark omen descends. I fully fabricated the enemy and everything about why they were attacking. The game offers no context about why that should be occurring.
I don't think it needs to.
No.
I agree.
I think you just leave it up to the table, and whatever feels right for your story is
Like, it's
what
not
you're doing.
it's not about them, right? It's
for sure.
Right.
It's about what's happening in the camp. The fact that there is an impending threat. You could retell this story with there's a hurricane coming.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
It could be a tsunami.
Yeah.
And the events
like
are
that,
like just
yeah.
the environmental things that are occurring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, if someone wanted to reskin this, you could absolutely do it. But I think I really appreciate the fact that it is orcs. It definitely got me in the door. If this was like, hey, this is a romance tale about some people in a place and they're being attacked and there's romance, I'm like, okay, whatever. But this one's being like big gay orcs, and I'm like, okay, I like all of those things.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you need that, like, fantasy or camp element
Yeah.
into it. Otherwise, it's just like, why are we playing a war game? You know?
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know. I'm just thinking of, like, other games this could spin off into. Like, I think a really fun spin-off game. Maybe this is, I don't know. Maybe I should save this for off mic. But I think it would be cool. Is, like, half the table plays from one army and half the table plays from the other army. And it's like a star-crossed, like,
Oh,
warrior lovers sort of
that
thing.
would be cool.
That's a very different game.
I don't know
wild.
how
Very
you could
different
put that on
game.
a single page.
No, I think it goes into not micro territory maybe at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's-
fair.
Maybe you could. It might have to be a 2-pager.
Yeah.
But okay. Any final thoughts? I think we should probably wrap it up. We've talked for a while.
Is it on the table or is it on the shelf?
I think I would. I think I'd table it.
Yeah, I'd table this.
Yeah,
Alright,
I would
so-
table it for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty resounding answer from us. We would all bring this back to the table.
Yay!
Yay!
Thanks for listening to Table It. I'm Matt. I don't do social media, so I'll talk to you at some point.
I'm Max. I GM'd this episode. I keep saying that. I play a lot of D&D.
I'm Manny Elliot. You can find me on Instagram at at In Character Art, where I do D&D portraits. You can find me there, and I may not talk to you, though, because I don't really do social media. Don't at me.
I have my opinions. Don't at me.
Exactly.
Thank you for listening to Tablet. You can find us at micro_RPGs on Twitter or email us at microrpgs@gmail.com. Please submit games you would like to hear us play with the subject line New Game. Our theme this episode is Chill Vibra Jazz, theme by Danny Dory. Thanks, and have a good one.